Well, hello and welcome everybody. Today's a brilliant day, isn't it? Isn't it a day that you really want to feel more vibrant, more healthy, more alert, maybe even more alive? Well, today's the day that we're going to be talking about that today. Did you know that in society in the United States today, 65% of adults and 15% of children and adolescents in the US are overweight or over obese? Whoa. The psychological mechanism causing this increase in obesity is no mystery. Americans consume more food calories than they burn, right? But is that it? Is that the only thing happening? Of course not, right? There's factors that are involved here. The mind is involved here. Stress levels are involved here. Lack of purpose could be involved here. Hopelessness could be involved here. There is a psychology in this, in when you go to lose weight. Have you ever tried to lose some weight and then all of a sudden it pops right back in? Well, in my experience, it's an inner game and an outer game. It's both, right? It takes good medicine, good food, good diets, those types of things to really be able to lose weight. But what else does it take? It takes you really reconnecting with yourself. One of the things that I recommend when you start to lose weight is sit down and write out 10 reasons why you're going to lose the weight no matter what. Get the mind working in your direction and then set it up for a win. Every day in your calendar, put this in. What 3 steps will I take today to lose weight, to feel healthier, to feel vibrant? Every day, put that in your calendar. What are the 3 steps I'm going to take today to lose weight, feel more vitality, and feel more joy in my life, right? If you'll do that, along with some of the other recommendations that are going to be made today on the show, because I'm bringing an expert on that has many decades in experience in helping people to lose weight and be healthy and vital. If you do that, your life's going to get better. You're going to not only lose the weight, right? You're going to create a healthier lifestyle, and you're going to be able to keep it off permanently. How cool would that be? Well, I think if you have an interest in that and you really are serious about it, then listen to the show. And, maybe there's a friend out there right now you want to go tell to tune in with you. Okay. We'll be right back after the break. I'll have my expert with me then.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-510-0470.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life, and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need KenDFoster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Well, as I mentioned, today we're calling the show The Courage to Lose Weight. And I have my expert just popped in the studio, Dr. Ropa Chari. Dr. Chari, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ken, for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. For those of you that don't know Dr. Chari, she's a medical doctor with specialty in internal medicine. She's practices integrated medicine for over 23 years, providing virtual consultants along with in person when she can. She is a medical doctor of a family-owned integrated medical health clinic called the Chari Center of Health. And that's just a little bit about Dr. Chari. There's so much more. Hopefully we'll find out some of that today on the show. Listen, why'd you get into medicine in the first place?
There's many reasons. My biggest inspiration is because of my mother, who everyone lovingly called Mama Chari or Mrs. Money Chari. And she always, when we were growing up, would bring healers from India and around the world who talked about natural healing, mind-body medicine, spirituality. So that was really ingrained in me from a child that eventually that's what I wanted to do. And then our father passed away when, my brother and I were only teenagers, and he had a massive heart attack when he was only 50. So that caused my mom and my brother and I to really sit down and say, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And how can we prevent this from happening to others? So we decided then, and this was back in 1983, that one day we would create our own family healing center where we would combine the best of all worlds and treat people just like a member of our family.
I love it. Well, I know you personally because you are my wife's doctor and have been for many years, and she's healthy and vibrant because of you, I believe, and of course because of her own efforts. But Mama Chari was a very big inspiration in our lives too, as you know, and she inspired, I want to say she inspired brilliance in everybody. So it doesn't surprise me back in 1983, she's inspiring everybody to move forward and really overcome for the family and break the cycle of what happened to your father. It just makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she recently passed on May 10th, but we feel her presence stronger than ever, and we are continuing, Deepak and I, with our vision to really bring forth healing and spirituality into this planet.
Well, she left a great legacy, and of course, I was with you at the service, and I just loved her dearly. So she's an angel. I feel her presence all the time, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
she's
you.
always with me, and I bet she's always with you too. I want to let's talk about this weight thing because listen, 60+% of the population is now in that category of obese, not just overweight. How do we lose weight? Let's just go there. What are some of the steps we need to do? I talked about the psychology of it because I think there's some psychology behind it. But from your point of view, what 4 steps do we need to do to start losing weight?
Definitely. Well, the first step is looking at food sensitivities because our food has been tampered with, as you know, in between pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, drying agents sprayed on the grains before they're harvested, and genetically modified foods, and how this has all contaminated our air, our water, our soil. So the foods that we're eating nowadays is nothing compared to the foods our ancestors ate. And the quality of this planet that, used to be there before so many of these chemical agents were introduced. And that has led to a tremendous amount of inflammation in our gut. And our gut is where most of our immune system is. So if our gut is inflamed, basically many of the organs in our body also simultaneously get inflamed. And inflammation is one of the key reasons for weight gain.
Mhm.
So that's why food sensitivity testing is so important.
Well, there's a lot of thoughts around that. So let's go with the food sensitivities. How do we know we're getting vital foods that aren't contaminated with pesticides or herbicides or whatever sides they are out there? How do we know that? What do we do with that?
Exactly. And, it's not a perfect world, so we can all just do the best that we can. But that's why we always try to support our local farmers with the local farmers markets and buying produce from them, and also your local health food stores, which are buying their produce from your local farmers. Because as much as we can minimize the amount of chemicals in our food, that itself will play a tremendous role in keeping our health vital and minimizing the amount of chemicals that we're ingesting and putting into our bodies.
Mm.
So that's one thing. And so buying organic whenever possible and supporting your local farmers and local community. And then also, avoiding genetically modified foods, which are found in most of the processed foods. So if you keep your refrigerator full of fresh fruits and vegetables, and if you eat meat, make sure that you're getting organic as possible from grass-fed animals that are treated humanely. All of that will be very important. And minimizing processed foods, which means really going into your cupboards and seeing what can be thrown out. And that,
Darn.
yeah.
I might have to throw out some cookies that I love or some some ice cream. Okay. Listen, I got to take a quick break. When we come back, though, I want to find out a little bit about, you mentioned the gut and, if the gut's inflamed. I'd like to know some of the signs of that when we get back, because I think people kind of don't really understand that. We'll be right back.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers, but now by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
CBD, you've heard about it. It's helping people relieve chronic pain, improve sleep, and reduce stress. But how do you find science-based products that feel right for you? Feel Good Hemp was started after the founders used CBD oil to help their dad heal from a 3-month-to-live diagnosis. They deliver all-natural, lab-tested, high-quality products at affordable prices. So visit feelgoodhemp.org/courage and be sure to use coupon code COURAGE25 to get 25% off your first order. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is KenDFoster. We're talking to Dr. Ropa Chari, And for those of you that don't know, she did receive her medical degree from the Medical College of Ohio, completed her internship and residency at North Shore University Health System, affiliated with the University of Chicago. Just thought I'd throw that in, Dr. Chari. You've got so many degrees. All right, how do we know if our gut's inflamed?
Yes. Now, it can be subtle for some people, and for others, it may be more obvious. But if you're having gas, bloating, abdominal pain, diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux, these are some key symptoms that may be more dramatic in the sense of saying, okay, something's going on with my gut, something's not agreeing with what I'm eating, I need to do something about it. But for many people, they will not have gut symptoms. It'll show up in other areas of their body, such as joint inflammation, swelling, redness. They may have trouble sleeping. They may be having a lot of brain fog, anxiety, depression. They may have skin rash or eczema. It can show up in many, many different ways. So it's important to realize that just because you're not having gut symptoms, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're not reacting to the foods you're eating, because everybody's sensitivities are different, and what we call the organs that may take on the toxins and
Hmm.
kind of express or show that something is off, will be different from person to person. And also migraine headaches are very classic with food sensitivities.
Wow, interesting. So, yeah, because those a lot of those symptoms are symptoms of other things. They can be, right? Brain fog, food sensitivities. Yeah, okay, maybe something else other than the gut, but primarily what you're saying is it starts in the gut. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. It starts in the gut. And, thyroid disease has become an epidemic at this point. And so Hashimoto's, which is basically inflammation or where the immune system ends up attacking its own thyroid,
Hmm.
that has been linked directly to inflammation in the gut and has been linked to gluten and other food sensitivities.
Interesting. I've recently come across individuals that have really been conscious of their health, and they've eat organic. They're really watching what they're putting in their bodies, and have for years, and yet they're still ending up with thyroid disease and Hashimoto's and that type of thing. What the heck is going on?
Well, in addition to the physical aspect, so, food sensitivities, number one. Number two is toxins, various toxins, whether it's high fructose corn syrup, dyes, preservatives, MSG, and the list goes on and on and on. But basically, if you're looking at a package and you're seeing a very long word for one of the ingredients, or very long words, I should say, as ingredients in whatever item you're looking at, just know it's been made in a lab and the chemist designed it so it would create cravings for that particular food, so you would eat more of it. I mean, that's just all part of the industry. So toxins play definitely a major role, and then all of that leads to inflammation. And then definitely, just as you were mentioning before, Ken, stress.
Yeah.
Because what really drives our behavior and eating habits, and when we, self-sabotage or eat things we know we shouldn't, it's usually emotionally driven. Some underlying trauma or stress or anxiety is causing us to say, okay, I want comfort from someplace. And then we end up eating those foods, which are then created to create more cravings
Yeah.
and keep that cycle going.
So I'm wondering about how individual this is too. One person can have celery juice in the morning, and the next one can have watermelon juice, but the one that has the celery can't do watermelon. The one that does watermelon can't do so. How do we figure out what the food sensitivities are for ourselves?
Absolutely. So I do a food sensitivity test that can be done at home,
Mhm.
just a little finger stick, and it's very easy. So you don't have to go to a lab and have your blood drawn. And it just takes minutes to do. And within 10 days or so, I get the results back and go over them with you, with my patients, and share with them exactly what foods to avoid for a period of time. And it'll be different for each person. So that way it's customized, because in our center, the Chari Center of Health, our philosophy is test, not guess. And once you know what you're sensitive to, that's the first step, because when you start minimizing or avoiding specific items, it doesn't mean you have to avoid everything, but just specific for you, then you're taking a huge burden off your body for those foods that are creating inflammation. And that's why it's so important to customize. And that's the first test. And there's other second tests that I do as well, which uses hair analysis and looks at nutrients and other heavy metals that may be affecting a person. And that's again customized for each person.
Yeah, my wife and I did the hair analysis when we were in Hawaii. We were so surprised to find what a couple of things of the hair analysis, how accurate it is, how many chemicals it can test, and for us, we were able to adjust then, knowing that, and got tested later, and as we adjusted, the test got better. So it was really powerful. All right, listen, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, I want to continue on our path about how do we lose weight? How do we really lose weight? Okay, we'll be right back.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-374-2308. That's 1-800-374-2308 now.
Well, welcome back. We're talking about the courage to lose weight, because it does take courage, that's for sure. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to maybe do things that you don't really want to do, but know you should do. And I'm talking with Dr. Chari here. She's an expert in this. Dr. Chari, if I want to kickstart my weight loss, right? I want to step it and really step into it. What do you suggest?
Well, just as we were speaking about, if you can find out what foods you're sensitive to, number 1. Number 2, find out what nutrients you're low in or deficient in, because for everyone it's different. For some people it may be zinc, others may be magnesium, others may be chromium. So when you find out, again, by testing and not guessing, what foods you're sensitive to, what nutrients that you need to supplement with and that you may be depleted in, and then minimize toxins of what foods you're putting into your body and on your skin, that will decrease inflammation. And when you decrease inflammation, you will lose weight, because your body holds on to fat as a buffer against all of these toxins. So if you minimize those toxins, the fat will start melting off. And then there's definitely hydration. Most of us are dehydrated as well. Just find a purified, good source of water and make sure you're sipping on water throughout the day to help cleanse your body.
I love it. How important is exercise to this whole routine?
Then exercise also plays a very important routine, but it's also important to know that many people's adrenals are, and I won't say necessarily depleted, because our adrenals, really speaking, honestly, do not get depleted. What happens is when we feel tired and run down, and when our adrenals don't make enough adrenaline, it's not because they can't really work. You may need certain nutrients to help your body make more adrenaline or other anti stress hormones, but what happens is, more than anything, is our body says we need to put the brakes on. We have our foot on the accelerator, we need to put the brakes on, and that'll cause fatigue and other things as well, symptoms. But with exercise, I believe in moderation. When people go in extreme with exercise and they're so depleted as it is, that can actually cause the body to even slow down more, and for some people really hamper their weight loss efforts. So going for a simple walk for anybody, no matter what, where you could walk with a pace where you could carry on a conversation with someone next to you is wonderful, or bike riding or swimming, anything in moderation. But, depending on each person and your metabolism, then we can always, bump up the exercise depending on what will be good for that person particularly.
I love that. Okay, how important are hormones to weight loss? We hear about hormones all the time. First of all, what is a hormone, and how does that impact our weight loss?
We can think of hormones as messengers, and they carry information from cell to cell for organs to communicate and for all the systems in our body to communicate. And frankly, we just need very, very minute amounts of hormones for them to carry on their job. And we have so many different hormones, but some of the key hormones involved in issues with weight gain are hormones such as cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone made by our adrenals, but it also causes us to gain weight, especially around the belly, which is the most frustrating thing I know for most women and men is like, okay, how can I get rid of that belly fat? And that's related to a lot of cortisol. Also, insulin. Insulin is another hormone made by your pancreas that helps blood sugar get into your cells so that you can generate energy. But for a lot of people, like the outside of the cell, you can think it has a keyhole, and you think of insulin like the key going in. But if the keyhole is kind of gunked up with toxins, it's not able to make a good fit. So the insulin can't attach to the cells, and then the sugar can't get into the cells. So we end up with higher levels of blood sugar going on in our body and higher levels of insulin, and insulin causes us to store fat too. So, and there's leptin and ghrelin, and there's so many different hormones. But ultimately, if we clean out the cells and do all the other steps that we were talking about, that will help with the weight loss.
I love that. By the way, your website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now, but we have a listening audience too. So, can you tell the listening audience where they can find you?
Absolutely. So, website is charicenter.com. That's our last name, Chari, CHARICENTER.com.
charicenter.com. That's simple enough. Okay. And you do take virtual calls, so people from pretty much anywhere can call you and do a session on Zoom or phone or whatever. Is that what I understand?
Yes. Well, at this point, I'm licensed in California and Florida, and we'll be soon in Texas as well. So I can do remote appointments from any of those states.
Awesome. What about people around the world? What if somebody from England calls? What happens then?
Yes. Well, it should be okay. Frankly, if they're out of the country, legally I would check that, but it's just more in the U.S. that I'm more restricted.
Yeah, we have to be sure we're following the rules. Okay, so it seems like there's a lot to this weight loss. So it's like, what would you say are like first steps? I think we're talking about go visit you or go visit their doctor is what I'm hearing.
Yes, definitely. The first steps would be, with your doctor, if you can find functional medicine or integrative medical doctor, what that basically means is they combine the best of all worlds. They have the medical background, but also can have the naturopathy background, so they'll be able to give you natural supplements and have a more holistic approach to really look at you as a person in your totality. So I always start with a good history, and from the history pretty much you can determine what the issues may be with the person, and then I test all home testing with the finger stick test for the food sensitivities, hair analysis test for the nutrients and heavy metals, and then I put together a customized program, including from a food program point of view. I don't like the word diet, but for a healthy food program, and then address if there's additional lab work that needs to be done. And I look at everything very comprehensively. I don't say from here to here is normal. I say from here to here is normal. So I'm able to find things earlier and put you on a program that will have a natural approach to it and natural remedies, and address things early, catch things early, and help people get off their medications, or at least lower the dose of their medications, and be very preventative as well.
Wow, I love that. Well, listen, we're gonna close this segment. For those of you that are watching us in our 30-minute program, we're gonna say goodbye to you and thank you so much, Dr. Chari. And for those of you that are watching the whole hour program, we'll be right back after we take a break. But first, I want to thank you again, Dr. Chari, for being on this 30-minute segment. Don't go away. We'll be coming right back.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-510-0470.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to Gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with Gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
There comes a time when you know you need to restart and regain control of your life. A time to seek freedom from the anxiety, addiction, and other issues that may be bringing you down. A time to heal and re-emerge as the real you. Villa Kalima is a holistic residential recovery program exclusively for women for individualized treatment. Villa Kalima offers proven clinical and holistic therapies for the mind, body, and spirit to assure sustainable recovery. Villa Kalima focuses on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms. It's the only way to truly recover and find yourself again. Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful, resort-like setting and is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center accepting a variety of health insurances. Start your healing and renewal today by calling Villa Kalima in La Costa, California at 760-814-8214. 760-814-8214. Villa Kalima, a place for transformation.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our next segment here with Dr. Chari. And we're talking about how to lose weight. And I want to spin back around a little bit more on the gut health. What are the tests I should be looking at? Let's say I go to my doctor and I say, I want to lose weight. I'm not sure about my gut health. Can you help me understand how healthy my gut is? What would a functional doctor or a naturopath say to me?
Yes. So one again is going back to the food sensitivity test because that really will show what is inflaming the gut in the first place. And that's creating some of the different symptoms a person may be experiencing. Another very important test to do is a stool test. And the reason for that is it can look for underlying infections in the gut, whether it's parasites, candida, certain bacteria or viruses that may be present, because underlying gut infections are another tremendous cause and very powerful cause of gut inflammation and our body's ability to absorb nutrients. And these underlying gut infections also weaken the immune system, since most of our immune system, at least 75%, is from the gut. So that's another very key test is stool testing. So
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
that's very powerful.
Okay, great. All right. So I think, and I think you'd probably agree, sleep is a really critical factor here in losing weight. Wake up, if you waking up in the morning and you got brain fog, what's the first thing that somebody wants to do? Go eat a bunch, right? They think that's going to help their brain fog. So let's discuss that a little bit. What are your thoughts and tips around that?
Yes. So when the gut is inflamed, the brain gets inflamed because they call it the gut brain axis or the gut brain connection. And a lot of the neurotransmitters or brain chemicals that are produced to help us sleep better, relax, decrease anxiety are actually produced in our gut, in our small intestine. And so when the gut is inflamed, we're not producing those brain chemicals, and that can affect our sleep. And plus, literally, our brain gets inflamed as the gut gets inflamed. And then that leads to a lot of the other issues with brain fog, memory issues. It really plays a key role. And we heard, believe it or not, that in some of the nursing homes, they're actually removing corn from some of those homes because they realized how it was affecting people's brain health as well as joint health, how it's creating so much inflammation.
I don't know what quorum is. What is that?
With corn?
Yeah.
So
Oh, corn. Oh, corn. Oh, you said
yeah,
corn. Oh, okay. I thought it was something else. Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So wheat, corn, soy, these are some, again, because they've been tampered with, our grains have been tampered with. That's why it's creating a lot of these effects. And so people think, oh my God, am I going crazy? I can't remember anything. Don't even remember why I went into a room. But as the diet is cleaned up and as the gut is healed, then all of those symptoms start to go away. And another tremendous side benefit is you sleep better, falling asleep and staying asleep.
That's interesting because all of that also ties into exercise. If you're feeling brain fog and if you don't have energy, nobody wants to go out and walk or run or swim or they just don't. They just want to kind of hang out and try to figure out how to feel better.
Exactly. Because if you're not sleeping well and you're waking up exhausted, then just as you're saying, you won't feel like exercising, and then you'll start eating foods that'll even aggravate that even more. And then you kind of go into that cycle.
Interesting. For me, I my healthcare provided me this little Fitbit watch, right? And I was a little against it because of the electromagnetic stuff on my arm and thinking about that. And I had to weigh it out and think, well, what are the benefits? But this thing tracks my sleep. So now I know exactly how much sleep I need, how much sleep I get, and when I feel really vibrant, when I don't. What do you think about these devices?
I think everything has its place. I really do. Our world is not so straight and cut and saying this is 100% bad, this is 100% good. But there's always moderation. Our philosophy in general is moderation. And so no, these devices and technologies are wonderful because they are very helpful in letting a person know, okay, how much am I walking? What is the quality of my sleep? Because otherwise we wouldn't really be able to track it. And then you can see, okay, this is where I'm at now. And then when you start making lifestyle changes, you can track and see how you're doing. So yeah, it all plays a wonderful role in our health
Yeah,
and well-being.
and I think there's another piece with weight loss, and I can just speak for me, but for some people, I think this may not work, but for me, it sure does. And that is, I like to count my calories when I'm in that place, and I also like to get on a scale, and know where my starting point is. I don't get on a scale every day, but I want to know where I'm going. What's your thought on that?
Definitely. And just as you were saying, not getting on the scale necessarily every day, for sure, but maybe once a week, just tracking and seeing where you are. These are what they call metrics that you can keep track at home. And then that empowers you. And that's the bottom line, is anything that empowers you to see how you're doing, how well you're doing, what's working, what's not working, is only going to empower you to make even further other changes in your lifestyle and see what's going to help you move forward to where you want to be in your life.
Yeah. One of the other things, this little Fitbit watch, I was just thinking about, what happened with me is I gained 10 pounds and all of a sudden my resting heart rate went up by 4 beats a minute. And I thought, wow, just 10 pounds, 4 beats a minute. And I'm a little analytical. So I kind of looked at that over a 10-year period, 4 beats a minute, what that would end up being. And it was, several months less of possibly me living just with a small weight gain. So, and I don't know if that's true or not, but it seemed like logically it was. Anyway, these things are important. All right. So, what other tips do you have for us to really get on the bandwagon? I want to say there's a mental piece to this too. Okay. I started talking about that at the beginning of the show. From your experience, when people come in, how important is mental health to losing weight?
I think, Ken, it's one of the most important aspects to address right from the onset, because even despite doing all of the right things, if people don't lose weight, and even otherwise, just for your quality of life, I think addressing the mental, emotional aspects of ourselves is so important. And as you know, my brother Deepak uses advanced voice biofeedback technologies to really delve into and release those underlying anxiety, depression, and trauma. And there's many wonderful techniques that are out there, but they are so important, because I really feel if we don't address, especially with weight loss and trying to lose weight, if we don't address the mental and emotional aspect of it, I think we've missed the boat. Because the physical, of course, is important, but the mental, emotional is what's driving the physical in many cases, and that has to be addressed.
It does have to be addressed. That's something that I address with a lot of clients. In fact, I'll just mention this. If you go to my homepage at KenDFoster.com, there's a program I created about 20 years ago. It's called the Release Process, and it helps you release mental baggage, limitations, trauma, drama from your life very quickly. So it's not to replace therapies. Those are important too, but this process, you'll see, you will get relief very quickly if you go through it. So it's free, KenDFoster.com. You can check that out. There's a spiritual aspect to this too. I'm a long-term meditator. I find that I find peace of mind and joy from meditation. So what's the spiritual aspect of this, Dr. Chari? I know you weren't going to talk about that. You're going to talk about the physical, but I just want to go there with you for a minute. What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely. That's so important to me, Ken. And one is finding your purpose in life. And I don't mean just a singular purpose. What I mean is, it means just being happy, finding happiness in your life, finding joy in your life, finding what in your life you have to be grateful for, and really tuning into your higher self. And regardless of what your religion is, the most important thing is realizing that there is their soul, our spirit, and God, and whatever name feels right for you to address God. But the bottom line is knowing that we all are here on this planet for a divine purpose. And ultimately, that purpose is to share our love with each other, to be of service to each other, and to find happiness in our life and find happiness in the simple things in life. And that's why I think it's so important, though it's hard to connect sometimes with our Creator when we have a lot of underlying depression, anxiety, or traumas that haven't been addressed. So that's why I still feel that, and even when people try to meditate, they'll tell me, I'm trying to meditate, but these thoughts keep coming to me. So that's why I really feel that addressing the emotions, addressing how we think is so important. And then, of course, meditation and ultimately really connecting with our Creator, connecting with one another, and seeing how we can be of service to others. And most importantly, of course, always looking after self first, because as I say, you have to put the oxygen on ourselves first before taking care of someone else, and realizing you're the greatest gift on this planet, each and every one of you. You're a divine blessing on this planet and here for a reason.
And everything is being done for you, not against you.
Oh, yes.
You know, the one of the things that an exercise I did a while back, actually a couple decades ago, but it always stuck with me. And that is, I set my intention to make peace with my family of origin, with my religion of origin, with my God of origin, with my my friends, and with myself. And it was an intention. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I just set the intention to do that. And I started thinking about how could I bring peace into my own soul through through asking those questions around those different areas. And those exercises are important, I believe, for mental health, and really not taking anything in to the future with us, being present here in the moment, and letting ourselves enjoy our life instead of always worrying and stressing over what's happening in the future, or worrying about the past and depressed because of something that didn't happen, right? So I think there's a big piece to that we all need to do. And you mentioned on the spiritual side of that, I believe meditation is very important for all of us. I know I meditated for 5 or 6 years until I found the specific techniques that helped me to go deeper. For those of you, I don't talk about my spiritual path, but I do. I got my meditation techniques from Self-Realization Fellowship, if you want to know, srf.org. There's some amazing techniques there. So just throw that out there. All right. Final thoughts here. All right. We've covered a whole gamut today. Wow, this has been really good. All right. So final thoughts around losing weight, Dr. Chari.
Yes. Well, realize that you are precious. I think the most important thing is to realize how precious you are, regardless of what weight you're at this present moment. And don't beat yourself up. Don't be so hard on yourself. And just know that there are solutions for helping you to lose weight and to be in your best health ever, physically, mentally, emotionally, so you can go forth and do all that you want to do on this beautiful planet. You're a gift on this planet. You have been blessed, each and every one of you, with divine gifts to offer others. And so that you feel confident to be in front of others and share what you have and your talents, so that we can all be blessed and learn from each other and grow from each other, and know that there's so much we can do at a physical level and even at a mental, emotional level, and that you don't have to struggle with this any longer. That's so important.
Well, folks, you don't hear very many doctors talking like that, so I hope you will take advantage of seeing Dr. Chari and doing maybe a virtual in person with her. I'm gonna be your voice for that, Doctor. I know you're not out there advertising, but I just want to let people know that you're how amazing you are, and I think they got that feel for you today. So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate everything you've shared with us.
Thank you, Ken. And I just want to let your audience know that I offer a free 15-minute consultation or discovery session. And on our website, charicenter.com, you can then schedule to speak to me. So thank you again.
Thank you again, Dr. Chari. All righty. Well, listen, all of you that have been listening to the show, thank you for your regular listening to this. And I hope you'll go to my website there at voicesofcourage.us and become an insider member with us. I mean, how cool is that? You know, some of our guests give away free books. Some of our guests give away free tickets. Sometimes I give away free stuff for you. It's all there for one reason, to help you become the best version of yourself, to grow your life, to evolve, and to see the unseeable, and to know the unknowable, and to do the impossible. Till next time, take care.